You ever have one of those moments where you just stop and ask yourself, is this actually happening? That was me, standing at the edge of my sunflower field, mouth open, heart racing, watching a backhoe tear through my land like it was some forgotten sandbox at a public park. There was a banner staked into the ground, flapping in the breeze like it was proud of itself. Future site of Sycamore Ridge, HOA community pool. Grand opening soon. Except there was just one teensy problem. This was my land. Privately owned, agriculturally zoned, registered in my name for over 17 years. And not only that, I also happen to be the zoning director for Aspen County. So, yeah, someone was about to have a really bad week. Let me rewind a little. I'd been out of town for just 3 days. A short trip to a regional zoning conference. Nothing wild, just me, some boring PowerPoints, and a lot of coffee. I left my assistant to check in on the goats and monitor the irrigation system. Everything was fine when I left. Not a single email, voicemail, or permit request came through. Because, again, no one had permission to touch this land. And yet, here I was, 3 days later, watching a construction crew flatten half my sunflower patch. As I walked up, trying not to explode, a guy in a reflective vest, let's call him Terry, gave me a friendly wave like I was interrupting his lunch break. He introduced himself as the site supervisor and immediately launched into some speech about an exciting community development initiative approved by the HOA board. He handed me a clipboard with what I can only describe as the most suspicious stack of papers I've ever seen. Expired survey maps, missing parcel IDs, and, my personal favorite, a handwritten note claiming a verbal easement agreement with the previous owner, who, fun fact, died 7 years ago. I asked him who signed off on this. He pointed me to a woman in designer sunglasses and a lemon-yellow pantsuit, sipping a chai latte and bossing around a poor intern trying to set up a balloon arch. Her name? Monica. Of course. Monica didn't even look at me. She said, and I quote, "Oh, you must be the new groundskeeper. We annexed this plot last month. It's part of our Phase 3 expansion project. But don't worry, everything's been cleared with the appropriate channels." I told her I am the appropriate channel. She laughed. "That's cute. If you're unhappy, feel free to file a complaint with the county." Yeah, about that. Back at my home office, I pulled up every zoning file from the surrounding area. My property was crystal clear. Agriculture only. No subdivisions, no donations, nothing rezoned. I even had drone footage from just 2 weeks earlier showing my crops fully intact. But when I returned the next morning, things had escalated. They were pouring concrete now, fast. And Monica? She'd organized a full-blown picnic on the edge of the site, complete with folding chairs, printed flyers, and a big sign that said, "Future Oasis for the Sycamore Ridge Community." People were taking selfies. One resident suggested adding a gazebo for weddings. Another mentioned how this would finally boost our property values. They were so deep into the fantasy, they didn't even realize they were standing on someone else's dream. Or land. Same thing. I walked up again. Monica gave me a crocodile smile and said, "You really need to stop interfering. The board will fine you for obstruction." I told her the only fines being issued would be coming from the county courthouse, and hers would make HOA dues look like pocket change. She blinked, clearly not used to being challenged, and then stormed off in her heels to yell at someone about table linens. Now here's where it gets juicy. Monica wasn't just a delusional HOA president. She had ambition. Dangerous ambition. She wasn't building a pool for the community. She was trying to leave a legacy. Rumor had it she was planning to run for city council next year, and this whole community pool thing? Just a stunt. A shiny trophy to parade around like proof she was a visionary leader. Too bad it was built on lies. I drafted an official zoning freeze and filed it under Emergency Encroachment Code 42B. Called in the inspectors. Reached out to the sheriff's department, just in case. Sent certified notices. The works. But Monica? Oh, she doubled down. 10 days out from her grand opening, she sent out mass mailers. Had volunteers tape flyers on mailboxes. Even launched a donation campaign for a deck upgrade fund. She genuinely thought she could manifest this into reality by sheer force of will. So, I let her build. I waited. And the morning of her sight-blessing ceremony, I changed up the daily routine. Opened the gates to the lower pasture and let my cows wander a little closer than usual. Nothing forced, just a casual stroll through the makeshift construction site. You'd be amazed how fast a Holstein can knock over a donut table. Monica screamed. A worker tripped over a folding chair. One of the cows licked someone's face, and another stepped directly into the shallow end, crushing the frame like it was a sandcastle. It was beautiful chaos. She yelled, "Call animal control! This is sabotage!" I smiled and said, "They're livestock, on my farm. Maybe your pool party's in the wrong venue." 2 days later, Monica held her ribbon cutting anyway. Contractors were already pulling out by then. Turns out they hadn't been paid in full, and once I handed them a legal notice, they packed up and left. But Monica? She posed for photos with her HOA squad, in matching polos in front of an unfinished, illegal slab of concrete. No press, just a couple of confused board members holding paper cups and wondering if they should start backing away slowly. I let her have that moment, because sometimes the fall hurts more when it starts from a hopeful place. Then came the hearing. She barged into City Hall like a storm in yoga pants, demanding to speak to someone with real authority. She didn't realize she'd be walking into my hearing room. I was sitting at the head of the table, and the look on her face, when she saw me, priceless. She tried to spin it, claimed it was a gift to the community, that it was all a big misunderstanding. But when I dropped a folder full of forged signatures, including one from a deceased man and another from her dog groomer's cousin, everything fell apart. And when the county legal rep informed her that submitting forged zoning documents could be classified as criminal fraud, she turned white. She followed me into the hallway afterward, tried to cut a deal. Said maybe we could fix this quietly. Maybe there was a consulting fee in it for me if I helped smooth it over. I let her finish, then pulled out my phone. I had recorded the entire conversation. Next thing she knew, there was a full-scale investigation into her HOA's finances. Turns out, Monica had been fast-tracking vanity projects, charging residents hidden fees, and funneling money into stuff like imported mulch and gold-plated mailbox numbers. And that's when the rain hit, literally. A storm rolled through that weekend, and without proper drainage, her illegal construction site turned into a swampy crater. When she tried to inspect the sabotage, she slipped. Again. Face first. In the mud. Someone caught it on video. And yes, it went viral. She tried one last move. A desperate countersuit. Claimed I'd caused her emotional distress and zoning-based intimidation. brought blurry screenshots, memes, and a printout of me standing next to my own cows like it was a smoking gun. The judge threw it out in under 5 minutes. Eventually, she packed up and moved. Quietly. No goodbye, no redemption arc. Just an empty house and a "for sale" sign, barely peeking through wilted tulips. And the best part? That house was later bought by a local school's AGI program. They're turning it into a mini animal sanctuary and garden for kids. Where Monica once dreamed of HOA glory, there will now be chickens, compost bins, and third graders learning how to grow tomatoes. And me? I kept working. I fixed the fields, restored the irrigation, repainted the barn door, and threw one last party. A no-pool pool party. Sprinklers, water balloons, legally permitted fun. We even had matching shirts that said, "I survived Monica's mudslide." So, yeah, sometimes justice isn't loud. It's patient, it's legal, and it shows up with paperwork, livestock, and a sense of humor. And Monica? Well, she wanted a legacy, and she got one. Just not the one she planned.